On the night of November 14th, 2018, John Chow paid two local fishermen to take him toward a forbidden place, a small forest-covered island lost in the Indian Ocean. The men were uneasy from the start. What John was asking wasn't just illegal, it was dangerous in a way that felt almost cursed. The last fisherman who had dared approach that island had never returned alive. Everyone along the coast knew the stories. But desperation has a way of quieting fear, and the money John offered was more than they could afford to refuse. They left after dark, slipping across the water without lights. The boat's engine kept low as if sound alone might summon something watching from the trees. They didn't dare approach the shore. Instead, they dropped anchor a short distance offshore, where the island loomed like a black shape against the night sky, silent, dense, and unreadable. When morning came, the island revealed itself. Thick jungle pressed right up to the sand, as though the forest were guarding the beach. John asked the fishermen to take him closer. They refused outright. This was as far as they would go. So John lowered a kayak into the water and began paddling alone toward the shore. As he neared the beach, movement caught his eye. A figure stepped out from the trees, face painted a bright, unsettling yellow. The person began screaming, high-pitched, sharp, and full of warning. John raised his hands and called out, trying to show he meant no harm. But then more figures emerged, dozens of them, faces painted the same yellow. They burst from the tree line like a single living force, drawing bows and firing arrows toward him. Panic took over. John spun the kayak around and paddled back toward the fishing boat as arrows splashed into the water around him. Later that same day, he tried again. This time he landed farther down the beach, away from where the group had appeared earlier. He believed he was out of range, safer. He pulled the kayak onto the sand and stepped onto the island. Almost immediately, the same group appeared again, farther down the shoreline now, watching him, speaking rapidly among themselves in a language he couldn't understand. Then they began running toward him, screeching. They didn't shoot at first. They surrounded him, staring. Someone dragged away his kayak. John stood there, exposed and uncertain, clutching a Bible as they spoke to one another, pointing, studying him as though he were something unnatural that had washed ashore. Then suddenly a child stepped forward, lifted a bow, and fired. The arrow struck the Bible John was holding, stopping just short of his chest. That was enough. John ran into the water. Without his kayak, he had no choice but to swim. Nearly a mile separated him from the fishing boat. As he struggled through the waves, arrows continued to rain down around him, fired without pattern or pause. Somehow, he made it back. The next day, November 16th, John made his final decision. He told the fishermen to drop him off and leave entirely, disappearing beyond the horizon. He insisted he would be fine. He said he knew what he was doing. Reluctantly, they agreed. When the fishermen returned the following day, John was nowhere to be seen. Instead, they saw figures on the beach, yellow-painted faces again, dragging a body across the sand with a rope tied around its neck. No one knows exactly what happened after the fishermen left. No one knows how John Chow died or how long he survived once he reached the shore. There are theories, rumors, fragments of speculation, but the truth is sealed behind the trees of North Sentinel Island. The island is too dangerous for recovery. His body remains there to this day. The people who live on that island are known as the Sentinelese. Only a few hundred of them exist. They have lived in near total isolation for tens of thousands of years, resisting every attempt at contact. They reject outsiders completely, researchers, governments, neighboring tribes. Anyone who sets foot on their land is treated as an enemy. They want only Sentinelese on North Sentinel Island. And if you are not one of them, the rule is simple and absolute. You do not belong there.